star students, welcome back to the Astro Study Room. I'm Ember Faye, your friendly neighborhood fire fairy witch.
And I'm Jordan, a university librarian by day and a dedicated astrology student by night. And yes, welcome back to the Astro Study Room.
Over the next few weeks, you might notice our intro shifting and evolving a little bit. We've been in this space together for a little over 6 months now. And as we've grown, we've also been getting clearer on the kinds of conversations Jordan and I want to be having with each other and with all of you. So we've always just said we're just two students going over our notes together in this little Astro Study Room. And while that's still true, I just lovingly want to point out that Jordan is a freaking incredible astrologer. Truly, her depth of knowledge and curiosity and ability to translate astrology into like a living experience and to like really truly understand it is a gift. And so for me, as your resident eclectic, embodiment loving fairy witch over here, like I use astrology as a tool in my spiritual practice and for my movement and work and in everyday magic. So we are both showing up here in our true self forms for you all, ready to embrace whatever we feel called to share with you and with each other.
Yeah, and Ember and I started talking about how we want to honor both of our strengths and let this space expand a little bit. And at its heart, this podcast will always be rooted in astrology, and that, of course, will be the foundation of it forever. But we also have other interests and things that we're learning about, and just like how today we're going to be talking about the branches of astrology and the different ways to use astrology, there are many ways that people experience astrology, and that can be through spirituality, philosophy, embodiment, connection, psychology, ritual, spell work, scheduling, planning, creativity, and all the things that go into daily life. So what does that all mean exactly? We don't know. We're still discovering that. And we're inviting you to discover it with us. So whether you identify as an astrologer, a witch, a wizard, a mystic, a spiritual seeker, or simply just a human, you belong here, and this study room is for everybody.
Our goal is still the same, for this to feel like a group of badass students of all levels gathering to explore, reflect, question, connect. And so no matter where you're at in your spiritual or astrology journey, learning is a forever game. Growth is cyclical, curiosity is sacred, and we are so happy you're here to wander around the cosmos with us. So if you'd like, grab your notes, your beverage of choice, your pens, your highlighters, or just bring yourself, your body, and an open mind.
Every other Tuesday, we will be exploring different astrology and spiritual topics, sometimes teaching, sometimes reflecting, sometimes just chatting and wondering out loud together. If you're into it, we'd love for you to subscribe, leave a review, and just know you can always come hang out with us in the Astro Study Room.
We are jumping into episode 19, where we are going to have a conversation about the different branches of astrology that you can study and a little bit about the traditions, more in like a general way, so you can follow along with these when they come up in the future.
And as a reminder, the Astro Study Room is live on YouTube, so if you're more of a visual person, come check us out on YouTube.
And don't forget about our Patreon, which is currently free. And we're still trying to figure out like the best way to utilize it. But signing up will make sure that you are the first to get any of our study guides or tools that we put out. And the link is in the show notes. And Jordan, can you tell everyone how they can get an amazing astrology consultation with you?
Absolutely. I do natal chart and solar return consultations where we can take a look and talk about what your soul intended for you in this lifetime. And I also offer cosmic check-ins where we can talk about any current transits going on, or if you want dedicated time to ask any questions about your chart or certain placements in your chart, we can definitely look at that together. Ember, what do you have going on?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube under Ember Faye Magic. And you can sign up for my newsletter or take my free quiz on discovering your sensual shadow archetype at my website, which is linked in the Instagram bio and in the show notes. And we love words of affirmation. So please let us know how we're doing. Give us feedback on what you want to hear. Let us know what you've enjoyed. As we are always saying, we are learning together in this little Astro Study Room, which is why it's so special to us.
So buckle up, Star students. Class is officially out and the study room is in session.
Jordan, Trine, do you want to jump into our current astro weather? We have a lot coming up.
Yeah, we do. February is a big one. I also want to say I'm getting over a cold right now, so if my voice starts to break and crack, that is why. But we're still here because we air every other weekend. Every other week. Fuck. Um, by the time this episode airs, we have been in the pre-shadow period of our first Mercury retrograde of 2026. This will be in Pisces, and Mercury actually goes retrograde on February 26th. The pre-shadow period is when you might start to notice either hints at or slight downloads or something at the very beginning of something that will become more apparent during the actual retrograde. I personally don't think every single Mercury retrograde is going to be momentous for every single person. I would pay the most attention if you are a Mercury ruled person, if your Time Lord is Mercury, that's at you, Ember, or if you have any placements between 8 and 22 degrees of Pisces or another planet making a tight aspect. Mercury is the planet of information and information exchange, and all of the action in Aquarius lately has been tied to the Epstein files and all the new all the new all the new info dumps. And I'm wondering if this retrograde for the US at least will be related to the Epstein files. However, in the US's chart, this is in the fourth house, and I believe the fourth house in mundane astrology has to do with the land's natural resources, and Mercury is a planet of trade. And so maybe like some new trade agreement that has to be redone or some new information coming out about what the US produces. We shall see. Saturn is moving into Aries on February 13th. I feel like I have been simultaneously dreading this and also mentally preparing for it since August. So I'm also kind of ready for it. The exact conjunction with Neptune will be on February 20th, but I wouldn't necessarily expect anything major to happen for you, like specifically on that day.
Will that be at 1 degrees Aries or
Gonna be 0 degrees
it's
Aries.
going to be 0? Okay.
The second most critical degree.
I have my Black Moon Lilith mean, which I've worked with a lot. I really like the idea of the Black Moon Lilith.
Yeah.
Especially around like the shadow self and all sensuality and all of that. And that is exactly conjunct the Black Moon Lilith mean for me.
Interesting. You'll have to reflect on what that means and then relate it back to me. February has a lot of major astrology transits and events like we talked about. And I think this is probably the most noteworthy month of the year for astrology, and we have some really awesome transits coming up too. On February 22nd, Venus and Jupiter are both exalted and trining each other in Cancer and Pisces.
Boop, boop.
So look at where you have Cancer and Pisces and think about expanding something and building relationships. For me, I have Cancer in my 9th house and Pisces in my 5th house, with my natal Jupiter in my 5th house. So I'm thinking about this as manifesting as romantic experiences that feel spiritually rich, travel and study and spiritual opportunities, restoring some kind of faith. And if you know me, LOL, deepening a relationship through something creative, or just spiritual companionship in general.
I feel like you need to send me little like ding reminders of these things.
I know.
Like when these happen so I can like do something about it.
I know, so we can like remember to reflect on it.
All right, let's kick it over to the astro local weather. So this episode, I think this is maybe the first time this is happening, is actually airing on the new moon on February 17th at 7:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which I feel like is usually when you post, right? Is it 6 a.m. or 7 a.m.?
6 a.m., yeah.
6 a.m. We should make this one 7 a.m.
Maybe.
So this is our new moon in Aquarius. And I just love this energy. You know, we pair it alongside Imbolc season, which is all about the stirring under the earth right now, maybe beneath the snow if you have some snow or ice, with Aquarius being an air sign, signaling new beginnings. This moon feels particularly potent for maybe cleansing and potentially meditating on your personal new beginnings, your personal goals, maybe some innovative ideas that you have for your future self. And I think this could look like a couple different things. So cleansing your altar is always great this time of year, just kind of like sweeping out some of those winter cobwebs and all those ashes and things we've been burning from candles, and give that a little sweep, a little tune up, maybe a digital detox or giving yourself time away from electronics for the new moon, but then like meditating on these aspects of Aquarius, right? Because Aquarius is all about innovation and technology, and see how you can actually like utilize them more effectively in your life. So maybe it's connecting through a special community through social media. Maybe it's creating your own community in social media. Maybe it's bringing a new app in to help streamline some of your studies, your ritual practices, some of your daily practices. And I think this is like, I say all these things, and I think there could be a lot of hesitation from the spiritual community, from the witchcraft community to incorporate technology into witchcraft. But I did want to bring up something awesome that happened this weekend. So we had our in bulk coven gathering this past weekend. And unfortunately, there was like good, I don't know, like third of us who were sick and not able to come in person. It was really a bummer, but our high priestess was open to having them join ritual via Zoom. And Jordan, maybe you can talk a little bit about that experience, but I feel like it was such a amazing way to like include people in this hybrid environment, and I don't think it took away from the ritual itself. I think technology is so important for connecting us, and this was just like one of the ways that felt very true. It didn't feel like we were doing anything like bad or not sacred because we had Zoom going on at the same time. It just felt special and so grateful to have everyone there, even if they couldn't physically be in the space.
Yeah, I think this is a really interesting conversation and very Aquarius, yeah, because like I really resonated with the part where you talked about like, some kind of tech detox, but then also like acknowledging the pros, because I think that's exactly what this is about, at least personally. Because it does like cause a lot of issues in life, but it also does like bring so much things. And I do like prefer, speaking on the in bulk ritual, I do prefer like being in person. It does, at
Absolutely.
least to me, it does feel different. Like it didn't feel the same, but also how lucky we are that we live at a time where like we still got to be included and participate in some way and still we still got to celebrate in a way.
Yeah. I think being open to that technology and thinking about how we can like use it is very Aquarius. And especially this season, the new moon, just gathering all of that together and embracing innovation and technology and community. Just celebrate this new moon by reflecting on how that shows up in your life and if there's potentially any changes you'd like to make over the next 6 months in that cycle.
Yeah, and additionally, this new moon is actually a solar eclipse. Bum, bum, bum.
Ba ba ba.
And so we are officially in the eclipse season, baby.
Dun 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 dun.
This is also the first eclipse with the lunar nodes welcoming us to the Leo and Aquarius axis. On the individual level, my biggest advice here is to, during this eclipse, which is today, if you're watching this the day of, is to actively stay focused and avoid multitasking. And I kind of like, I think that was really interesting what you were picking up, Ember, with the whole like a technology detox, because I do think this is a bit about like, just do one thing at a time, just stay focused right now.
I'm so bad at that.
I mean, and like whatever that means to you, I know some people focus different ways. Some people focus through multitasking. I guess do what resonates with you. For the US, this eclipse is 1 degree away from our natal moon, and the moon in mundane astrology rules the public and the people. And I think this has a lot to do with like a karmic cycle related to technology. And this is
Mm.
really interesting because I didn't read what you had written, Ember, so that's kind of fun. So I think that this can have to do with AI, transportation related to technology, because this is in the third house for the US's chart. This I wondered if this could have to do with like the self-driving cars, which have been introduced to my city recently.
Oh,
Yeah, they're not like you can't get a ride yet, but they're like driving around and like mapping out the city right now.
that's so
Yeah,
wild.
it is. And with this eclipse being right on the US's natal moon, my thoughts are that the public will have some kind of noticeable reaction or feelings about whatever comes up technology or transportation wise. And then the last thing I wanted to mention, the next eclipse is the day of our next episode, which is March 3rd, and that will be in Virgo at 13 degrees.
We didn't plan this. This just happened.
Woo!
All right, Jordan, are you ready to talk about some branches and traditions? Because I have questions.
Yeah, I'm excited. We've been trying a new format where we're kind of like planning things a bit less than we would. One, because we want to be less scripted. Two, because like we're both really busy individuals and we need to have more time to live our lives. So I haven't planned what we're going to talk about. I felt
I
the
love
need
it.
to say that first. Yeah.
So, Jordan, you started telling me earlier today, but can you tell our listeners what the difference is between an astrological branch and an astrological tradition?
Yeah. So a branch. There's four main branches in astrology. I guess we'll start there. There's natal astrology, electional astrology, horary astrology, and mundane astrology. Natal astrology is the one that you hear about the most often. That's what most people study. That's what we have the most easiest access to. And that's like the birth chart astrology and the individual astrology. And then there's mundane astrology, and that is using astrology to make sense of, study, and predict world events. So when I talk about the US's chart in relation to astrology, that is mundane astrology. There is electional astrology, and that is using astrology to pick the best time to do the best or worst time, I guess, to do something. Like you could pick the best time to get married. You could pick the best time to do something where no one will catch you, like if you wanted to do something secretive. And then there's horary astrology, which I think
What's
is
that
the
word
most
mean?
horary. I have no idea.
It's just such a horary.
Yeah, I guess that is a weird one. Horary astrology is the most like what I called like stereotypical divination. It's where you ask a question and you look at the chart at the time of the that you asked that question and you use that chart to like divinate an answer. What am I comparing these to? Tradition, the word tradition?
Yeah, like the tradition. Well, I don't know. Maybe we'll start there and then we'll ask about traditions after because the divination. Do you have any like? I guess you do have preferences. I know you have preferences, um, between like the different branches.
I wouldn't
Do
even
you?
say I have a strong preference. I think I just haven't spent time in most of the other ones. I've like most people do natal astrology, and I think that's like that is like the main one. And I think I haven't like I don't have data to back this up, but I think that all the other versions of all the other branches of astrology take things from natal astrology. So kind of everyone you have to
Oh,
start at natal. Or I guess I don't know, that's just where everyone starts. And I'm getting into mundane astrology. I'm finding that it's harder to study, like there's less resources out about it. So I'm having trouble, I guess, like formally studying it. And then electional astrology just hasn't electional and horary haven't like called to me too much. I used electional when we started our coven. And then I used horary once. I'll tell this story. Brendan lost his glasses, my partner, and he's the type of person who like cannot function without his glasses on. And he's never lost them before. That's never happened. He had them in his pocket and he was walking. He had dropped off a rental car and he was walking home from there. And it was a kind of long walk. It was like a 3 or 4 mile walk. And he like dropped his glasses somewhere and he spent the rest of the day walking that path, that 3 to 4 mile path, like 4 times. I think he walked 20
mhm.
miles that day looking for his glasses. And I was kind of like, you're insane. Just go home. If you didn't find him the first walkthrough, you're not going to find him. And he was like, I must find them. So we both went walking the next day. And then I did like my first time, I did a horary chart on it. And it like from what I got from it, it was like one, like, no, you're never going to find them. And it was like that they might have been like stolen, which I think that might have been what happened because if he didn't see them 4 times walking that path. I'm like, someone must have taken them. And it was like a cold day too. Like the grass wasn't super long. Like we would have seen them in the grass. So long story, that's the only time I've used horary. And I'm not interested in it. No, I guess that's what I'm saying. I just haven't been interested in it much yet.
Oh
Is
my
there a
gosh,
certain one that calls to you more than the other? Like
the
which one made
whole
you the most curious?
the horary one.
Oh yeah, okay.
I mean, I feel like I mean natal chart readings, I think like you said as a baseline is so important because I love understanding I mean,
Me.
I like what?
Me. I want to understand
I
me.
want to understand me, but I love using it to understand other people. There was a coven member this weekend that we were talking about how she had a lot of personal planets in her Cancer house and I think Cancer was in her 11th house. It was so interesting to be able to like talk to her and explore that a little bit, just like I feel like I'm at a point where I can get little peeks of people's personalities and talk about it. Like that's where my astrology level is now. It's like deeper, a little bit deeper than like the sun, the moon,
Yeah.
so I can look and be like, oh, this is so interesting. You have this cluster of very personal planets in this one spot
Do you know
in
what
your
that's
house of
called?
community. What?
Do you know what that's called? A
I
cluster?
feel like mm, mm, mm.
Starts with an S.
Stellium.
Yes.
A stellium.
Yes, that's called a stellium, baby.
Is there a certain number that needs to be in one?
That's debated. At least three.
Okay.
Some people say
Definitely a
you have
three.
to have at least four. Let me
Okay.
get this to focus.
I was
All
like,
right, whatever.
oh,
No, I'm
oh.
trying. I'm like blurry.
Um, oh.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I definitely like, would we be able to like if I asked a question, we could like pull up a chart and see like what
Yeah, you want to try? I mean, again, I have well, that. Oh God, I dropped the candle.
maybe we'll save that for the end. Maybe we'll like
Okay.
so okay, so the branches, four branches, the election electoral,
Electional.
electional. That one's really interesting too. So that's just all about making decisions about things.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Yeah, I think that is interesting because like you said, I think a lot of these kind of do come from the natal chart, or you can get some of that information from the natal chart. It feels like, I guess, but that's like a very personal thing, rather. I guess the
Yeah, and
natal chart.
electional is like down to the minute. It's like what minute should I start this?
Okay.
And the birth
Yeah, I
chart will kind
guess
of tell you like what season you should start this.
like reverse engineering your natal chart, kind
Yeah,
of.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Interesting. And so those are your branches. And then we have talked, we haven't really talked about it. We've just mentioned a lot of different traditions in our episodes. And so I wanted to ask, like, what is the difference between a branch and a tradition? And then maybe a little bit about like some of the traditions in like very basic terms.
The traditions are like it's largely a cultural thing too. It's like what communities founded different types of astrology, and it kind of gets attributed back to them. Like we have Babylonian or well Mesopotamian astrology and specifically Babylonian astrology, and then there's Vedic and there's Egyptian astrology and Hellenistic astrology, and those are kind of like the traditions. They all practiced a little bit differently. There's Mayan astrology.
There's Mayan astrology.
Yeah.
Why did
There's
that just hit
like
me? That feels like something I need to look into because that just hit me with like some tingles.
oh well, fun fact. Elise Wells on the Sacred Places podcast that I happen to edit has an episode. I feel bad that I can't remember any of their names or the title, but the person she interviewed, it wasn't about just Mayan astrology. It was about like the sacred places of Maya, of ancient
Oh,
Mayan
yes.
buildings. But he does Mayan astrology.
His name is Solomon Pakal.
Yeah.
Yes, Solomon Pakal, if I'm saying that correctly. Elise and Solomon are lecturing together at Sacred Space Conference.
Oh, cool.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And so, how many different traditions? I was under the impression, like when I think traditions, it was like Hellenistic, Vedic, modern, traditional were like the four I knew.
Yeah, that's a good one to dive into. So modern and traditional astrology do not refer to like this conversation of traditions.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Oh.
It's hard, like, it's hard to find the words to say it, but I'll just kind of give examples. Like Hellenistic astrology is under traditional astrology. Evolutionary astrology, which is another, I guess, tradition of astrology, is under modern astrology. So I
Oh, so
guess it's
they're
kind
like
of like you can
umbrella.
take tradition, yeah. Like I guess the overarching one is like the word astrology, modern, and then traditional, all the other little
Okay. Where do the
things.
and then the branches fall under
That's
any
a
of that?
different conversation,
That's
yeah.
like they're all okay.
Yeah, like I don't. I actually said this before we started filming. I don't like know too much about the history of electional or horary astrology. I know like mundane astrology has some roots in like there's like the Aries ingress chart and like something that we're not going to go into. And like kings using mundane astrology to predict something for their country. But as far as like electional and horary astrology, I don't know. Like I wouldn't like not every tradition I assume practices all four branches. And I don't know like how old electional and horary astrology is. I feel like electional, just guessing, I feel like electional has to be a little bit newer, has to be more modern because we didn't have access to like I imagine it came out when we had like ephemerises that people could just easily have. I don't know. I don't know that for sure.
Okay.
Um,
I'd buy it though, because you said
thanks.
it. So, Jordan, can you go a little bit into what some of these traditions are? And like very, very like baseline. Like I don't even really have a baseline for like what Hellenistic astrology is and what like Vedic astrology is, but I've heard the terms a lot.
Yeah, and I'm definitely not an expert on any of them really. And I would say most people today, like, there aren't a lot of people I think that strictly follow one tradition. A lot of people do a mix of things. It's interesting to think if I would consider like modern versions of astrology to be traditions. Like I don't know if they're old enough to be traditions, but I guess we could start there. The one that I can think of most immediately for modern astrology is evolutionary astrology. And that is, and again, I'm not an expert on any of these. These are just like the little that I do know about them. My understanding is it's very focused on Pluto, and it's very much like Pluto, I don't know, like Pluto is like the planet that is of your soul or something. It's a very spiritual heavy tradition. It's very psychological, and I believe it was founded in like the 60s. My voice is definitely starting to go. Um, there's Uranian astrology. This one like is so weird to me. I mean it sounds cool, but I don't know why it's called Uranian astrology. I don't think it actually has to do with Uranus, but it has to do with like, oh gosh, like the midpoint of things and using that to predict things better than other versions of prediction. I don't know. So that one's interesting. There are a couple people who like do specifically do Uranian astrology.
I've
And
like
then
never heard these terms before.
yeah. They're not like that. I mean, evolutionary is pretty popular. I don't think Uranian astrology is very popular.
Evolutionary feels like something I would be into.
I That's actually kind of where I started a little bit because I was into modern, like I said, or like everyone I feel like starts in modern. So I was doing modern astrology. I don't remember how I got into evolutionary, but I think I was very attracted to how spiritual it was. And then I got a book on it and oh, I think I was also really attracted to the fact that it was so much about Pluto and modern astrology says that I'm ruled by Pluto. So I was like, oh my God,
Mm.
me. And then I read a book on it and I was kind of like, I'm not vibing with it too much, but I am still intrigued by it. Like Adam Ellenboss does, I love how he teaches astrology and he takes a lot of things from evolutionary astrology and I like what he does with it. He's very traditional, but he takes some of those roots from it. Then there's Hellenistic astrology, which a lot of people hear about that one. And the word Hellenistic just kind of means like traces back to Greece and Greek cultural exchange. So it can have to do with like Egypt as well, and Mesopotamia. So Hellenistic astrology is like this astrology that goes back to Greece, ancient Greece. And there's Vedic astrology, which is Indian astrology. The biggest difference is most Western people use tropical astrology. Vedic astrology uses sidereal. And so tropical astrology has to do with the ecliptic path of the sun in the sky. And it doesn't actually have anything to do with where the zodiac signs are, where those constellations are. Sidereal astrology actually follows the constellations and where they are actually located. Have you ever heard that thing? It goes around every so often that's like, astrology has changed. Your sun sign is not what it was, not what it used to be. Have you heard that before?
Oh, yeah.
That has to do with sidereal astrology
Which
because
falls
things
under
do
where
shift more
again?
often. Vedic.
Vedic. Okay.
I'm sure other traditions also use sidereal, but it's most well known in Vedic astrology.
And we're saying then you have tropical versus sidereal.
Hmm.
And that is also not falling under traditions, right? That's like a separate thing.
Yeah, I think it's kind of just like a tradition might favor one over the other. Like I think
Okay.
Western astrologers to like I don't think I know I don't personally know any Western astrologers that use sidereal zodiac.
Okay. But sidereal is the one that's actually like where they are in like
Yes.
where the constellations are. That's
Isn't it
so,
crazy?
yeah. So wait, then what's tropical?
Tropical has to do with the sun's path along the ecliptic, and it's more tied to seasons. Tropical.
Oh.
Um, So yeah, sidereal is tied to like where the constellation literally is, and also the constellations are not all the same size. So like in a birth chart, we give each zodiac sign 30 degrees, but they're not all actually 30 degrees. I think Virgo, if I get it right, I think Virgo is like huge, Pisces is really tiny, but sidereal zodiacs will actually give each constellation how many degrees it is in real life,
Oh.
and then
Well, that feels like it should be that should be how it is, I guess, but that would make it so much harder.
yeah, it kind of at some point we're probably going to have some kind of conversation or episode about like how does astrology work? Because who knows? And also like there's tons of theories, but I don't really fall in the camp that these planets have like invisible rays or force fields that are like energetically influencing us. I don't That one I don't vibe with as much. And I think it kind of all clicked in its place for me once I learned that we don't actually follow the literal zodiac signs, because a lot of it is just it's just so different because it kind of goes into like it's not all logic. Like it's and if anything, maybe like psychological too. Like I think it's what we make of it. It's like the stories and the legends that we have made up with it. And then also the belief that like that this has been like divinely divinated and stuff.
I love that. Okay.
Yeah.
This is making a lot of sense. I don't know if I'm going to be able to recall all these, but like
That's
these are
okay, you don't need
definitely
to.
buzzword terms I've heard, but I've
Like
never
I said,
actually
like
looked into.
I'm not an expert on any of these.
I'm going to summarize what we've talked about. So we have branches, which are going to be different than our traditions. Our traditions are basically like cultural understandings of astrology and studying of astrology, right? Does that
Yeah.
seem accurate? Okay. So like Hellenistic and Vedic and evolutionary. Oh, what was that book in evolutionary astrology that you read? Do you think I'd like it? Do you think our listeners would like it?
I mean, give it a try. I think it was written by, so the guy who founded evolutionary astrology, his name is, I think it's John Wolfe Green, and this book was written by his daughter.
Oh,
Yeah. I can't remember what it's called, but you can easily Google it.
do you have it?
No, I read it on my Kindle. It's called Evolutionary Astrology.
Is it
Uh,
very textbook
yeah,
or it's
kind of,
it's
yeah.
more like textbooky, like
It's definitely not. Have you read astrological texts before? I wouldn't say this is like your modern witchcraft books. Like this, it's definitely not like that. It's by Deva Green or Diva Green. I don't know how to pronounce her name.
so it's boring.
And it's titled Evolutionary Astrology, Pluto and Your Karmic Mission. You can just get a sample of it and see if you like it.
Yeah. I think a big part, this is like a total side note, but like I'm really trying to figure out how astrology fits into like my spiritual practice because I
Where do you
like
feel
it.
right now? Oh, you're probably about to go into that. Like, what
Oh,
do you,
yes.
yeah, because I would love to record how you feel now so we can like reflect on it later.
Oh, so this is gonna like go somewhere where I don't know. But I definitely appreciate astrology. I love its patterns. I love its connections within each other. I love its connection to the universe and its connections to the elements. Like there's so many aspects of astrology that I really appreciate and really love. I definitely like appreciate astrology a lot and figuring out where and how I want to utilize it more. Like I mean, I follow the moon cycles in the different signs. Like I already do that. I want to have like a better understanding of when these like transits happen and be able to like more understand how they affect me, but also use astrology as a divination tool. Like I think that's what I
Yeah.
want to do.
It'll be cool when we practice a little horary chart together.
All right, Jordan, I'm really interested in trying like a horary chart divination experience. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so the questions then should I like is it just like anything? Like I just ask you.
Basically, you're going to ask the question, and then after you finish asking it, I'm going to refresh the page, and we'll have our chart to look at with and to divinate with. So, what's your
Okay.
question?
So what kinds of questions can I ask?
Let me again reiterate that like I haven't studied horary astrology. Like this is me kind of like applying natal techniques to it. So, I mean, I think you can ask anything. Like I said, I asked the question of like, are we going to find Brendan's glasses? I think you can ask simple yes or no questions. I think you can ask anything.
Okay. So I am doing a challenge with a couple of our coven members. It's very reminiscent of like the 75 hard, 75 soft vibe, but we're all kind of making our own what that looks like what the 75 days will look like. And so I would like to know if there's any suggestions on the chart of like what I should include in mine.
Okay. Right off the bat, I'm curious what you pick up on first. Take your
Oh,
time. It's okay. Take your time.
okay. So we have Mars, the sun. The first thing I went to was the sixth house. That was like what drew my eye first, which is interesting because that is like the house of rituals. So I
Mhm.
didn't even like consciously think of that. It just happened more because I saw the sun and Mars there. And um,
What I picked up on first that I think was interesting is Jupiter exalted in 11th house, and you're doing this with the coven. So thought that was fun.
Oh, I did also see that. I
Yeah.
didn't pick up I my eyes went to Jupiter, but I didn't pick up the 11th house.
So I think the first thing I look at as someone who does not practice this is the chart ruler and how that's doing. And so it is in the seventh house in Pisces. And being in seventh house is like a positive thing. Being in Pisces is not a very positive thing. As far as like what you should do.
Wait, who's the chart? Wait, why is this the chart ruler?
Oh, because Virgo's the ascendant.
Oh.
Yeah, so whoever the ascendant, whatever the ascendant is, the planet that rules that sign is your chart ruler. I know you're supposed to also look at the moon because the moon is like the most fast acting, and the moon is in fall right now. But the question wasn't really like if it's going to go well or not.
No.
The question was,
What should I
what should I
include in
add?
it?
And I think like sixth house is health and activity. I think like that's one of those things where like you have to sit with it too, because right before this we were kind of like having a little conversation about like how long should you do movement for? Like, should
Hmm.
you commit to? And there's a lot going on in this sixth house. Pluto is there, and then both Mars and Venus are under the beams of the sun, which is not great. Actually, what comes to mind is burnout because the sun is burning up Mars and Venus. So I think the advice there would be don't burn yourself out. Think of some like don't overcommit.
Mm.
Um,
I think that's a big thing for me too, because like I think I want to be realistic about this and not we've talked about in the past how if I have a goal, it's like I'm gonna do it, even if it's gonna like stress me out and not
yeah.
actually be what is nourishing me.
I'm also thinking because the chart ruler is in the seventh house that you should do something one-on-one with somebody. Like it could literally be your spouse, it could be doing some kind of daily ritual commitment with your husband, but obviously it could be like that one-on-one friendship too.
I'll have to ask my partner if he's willing to do some with me. And we keep saying the chart ruler. I just want to mention that's Mercury, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Because Virgo is the ascendant and Mercury rules Virgo, which we haven't really talked about. We'll talk about that as we get through the signs.
Yeah. What's Mercury doing? Mercury is just chilling.
Mercury's in fall. Mercury doesn't like to be in fall, but it's in the house of, like I said, house of spouse. I like to I know a lot of people who natally have Mercury in Pisces, and I like to describe Mercury in Pisces as like you're very creative, but you really struggle to write to get it into a language that other people can understand. Like it's like you're speaking an alien language. So if any of that resonates with you here, go forth with that. Neptune is at 0 degrees of Aries in eighth house.
Which is, like I mentioned, my Black Moon Lilith. That feels this transit feels potent for me, but I don't know why yet.
Ooh.
So, and in this case, we're talking Neptune at 0 degrees.
My next
So,
question would be why are you doing a 75 soft challenge? Because that will tell me what house we should look into.
is everyone else doing it?
Okay.
I think some consistency. I think group motivation is very potent for me. Like it works really well. So it's kind of like it's the momentum. Like the momentum is building. And I think like having that group momentum together will be very helpful for me to like get back into routines that I may like movement that I have been wanting to get back down into my foundations of things that like I think I've let go of in the past few months.
Yeah, what keeps coming up for me is like avoiding burnout. Like everything you're saying, I'm like looking back at the chart. This is starting to feel like more personal than like putting this on a podcast. But you're talking about like action and movement, and that's very Mars. But Mars, like I said, is literally being burnt up by the sun.
Yeah. Whoa, this is cool.
What was the other thing I was just about to say? Oh, I was thinking originally I was thinking too about ninth house and like the spiritual connections in this horary chart is ruled by Venus, which is also being burnt up by the sun. In the sixth house of health and routine and activities and doing something and just like the mundane work of things. And I think I like the overarching thing here is like don't burn yourself out.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the Jupiter too, like I said, which is really cool that it's in the 11th house, it's exalted, but it is retrograde, is kind of like a some significant ticks in the downward position.
I think what you're saying resonates a lot, Jordan, and it kind of plays off of the conversations and my personal history of like committing to these things and pushing myself until I burn out. And so I think that tonight, when I'm reflecting on what I actually want to do for my 75, I don't like calling it 75 soft. It's just my 75 witch. Um, and for my 75 witch, I will reflect on that and make sure that I think my goal will be to make sure I am committing to things that will feel nourishing.
Yeah. The last thing I do want to mention, I want to talk about your Saturn here, the Saturn here, because Saturn is the dispositor of all this stuff going on in Aquarius, and it's at the anaretic degree right now, and it's in the same house as the chart ruler Mercury. And I'm like, no answer is coming to mind, but I'm thinking about, I don't want to say like avoiding burnout necessarily, but like working through burnout or whatever through some kind of partnership with someone or people. Maybe that means like leaning on someone more when you're feeling that burnout, like talk about it more or something.
Yeah. I think that was really good, Jordan. Thank you.
Yeah, that was fun to play with. I should play with that more often. That was fun.
I'll just
Got
send you
low stakes
questions all
too.
the time. I kind of like looking at it together too.
I know, that was fun. I like seeing what drew your eyes first too.
All right, Jordan, you want to jump into our this or that? Fate or free will?
I mean, free will.
Mundane astrology or a deep natal dive?
Oh, I am still gonna say deep natal dive. If you didn't say deep, I would have said mundane.
A synastry reading or a birth chart reading?
Oh, we didn't even talk about synastry readings. I do synastry readings too. I haven't like offered them because I'm too scared, but I do synastry readings too. What was the synastry and what?
Or a birth chart reading?
Still birth chart. I mean, yeah, still birth chart.
I really want to do a synastry reading for me and Trevor.
Let's do it.
I mean, totally. Astrology as a sacred science or an art of science?
Art of science, yeah.
Reading charts for friends or charts for strangers?
For friends. Wait, what are your answers? I want to know what you'd say.
Free will,
Mhm.
natal deep dive. I have never had a synastry reading, but I'm so interested in that, mostly because, like I said, I really like to learn about the dynamics between people, and I think
Yeah.
synastry charts would be so cool. So I would love to be able to like look at that in the future. I think astrology is a sacred science. Like I think it combines the spiritual and the
Oh, I
sciencey
thought
part.
you were gonna say art.
What's interesting? The reason that wording came up is because I always think of veterinary medicine as an art of science.
I was like, because I think we talked about that in one of these episodes where we talked
Yeah.
about how astrology is an art and a science, and then you taught about the art of medicine.
Yeah. And so I do, I think, resonate more with the sacred, like the divine aspect of astrology as well. So I don't know, I went back and forth on that. And then reading charts for friends because I do not have the confidence to read for a stranger right now. Thank you so much for being here with us in the study room. Whether you're just beginning your journey with astrology, starting to utilize it as a tool in your craft, or just curious about the universe, we are so happy you were here to join us. And if you have any comments or questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. The link is in the show notes.
Next episode, we're going to be jumping into all about the elements and the modalities in astrology. I think we said we were going to do that for this episode, but we changed our mind. We're going to do that next. So we're going to be talking about like the foundations of learning about the zodiacs because the next episode, we are going to finally start with our deep dive into all the zodiac signs, starting with Aries. And I'm very, very excited about that because that's kind of like we've said this before, the bread and butter of this podcast. So that's what we do best.
Yes, I am so excited because I feel like I have relationships with the planets. I actually started re-listening to our podcast. Like I started the sun
Oh,
episode again because I still feel like there's so much I still have these like buzzwords in my head about the planets, but I want to like reconnect with that relationship with them. And I'm really excited to do that with the zodiac because I do really have like the pop astrology idea of the key themes of most of the signs. And so I want to learn more about them.
What's going to be like beautiful with that too is once you get through the signs, like you see how the planets make up the signs, and I think that strengthens your knowledge of the planets, your understanding of the like when you think of Venus, like Venus is Taurus and Libra, and what does it mean to be Taurus and Libra? That's Venus, like that's beautiful.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm excited.
Yeah. This podcast is my practice of asking big questions, uncovering the hidden truth, and creating an accessible space for others to do the same.
And I'm so grateful to be learning alongside Jordan and all of you, sharing our resources and diving into what it means to connect with the cosmos. Thank you so much for being part of our journey, and we'll see you back in the study room every other Tuesday.